Alright, it is Friday, June 5th, 2020 at 10:06 a.m. Good morning, everybody. Alright, let's take a look here. Putin declares a state of emergency after a massive fuel leak pollutes river in the Arctic Circle. Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared a state of emergency in the Siberian city of Norilsk after a massive fuel leak spilled into a river. Environmentalists call it one of the worst ever seen in the Arctic. The accident took place last week when a reserve fuel tank from a local thermal power plant leaked more than 20,000 tons of diesel on Friday, coloring nearby rivers crimson red, but caught the attention of federal authorities days later. The plant's parent company, metals giant Norilsk Nickel, has suggested that the accident occurred due to the thawing permafrost that led to the sinking of the supporting posts under the tank. During a televised conference on Wednesday, Putin criticized the company for failing to report and react promptly to the incident. Governor of the Karanovsk region, which include Norilsk, told Putin that he had learned about the situation only 2 days later when he saw some alarming social media posts. Norilsk Nickel issued a statement saying that the incident was reported timely to the emergency services shortly after the spill has been recorded by the plant. It said that copies of the report have been sent to law enforcement agencies. The investigative committee, which looks at major crimes in the country, reported that 3 criminal probes have been opened in connection with the incident over contamination and alleged violation of environmental safety regulations. One senior employee of the plant has been detained, while officials are still looking into possible causes of the leak. The company's first vice president and chief operating officer, Sergei Darchenko, who is in charge of the company's response efforts linked to the preceding warm winter. We can assume that abnormally mild temperatures could have caused permafrost thawing, resulting in partial subsidence of the tank's supports, Lachenko was quoted by the company as saying. Russia's vast permafrost has been rapidly thawing in the Arctic regions due to global warming, causing damage to the buildings in Norilsk and other cities. So it is a disaster of global scale. The World Wildlife Fund called the accident the second largest in modern Russian history in terms of volume since crude oil spill in the northwestern region in Komi in 1994, according to the AFP. Meanwhile, Greenpeace has compared it to the 1989 Exxon Valdez disaster in Alaska, when some 36,000 tons of oil spilled into the sea waters. It is a disaster of global scale, one of the worst that occurred in the Arctic, an expert with Greenpeace Russia told CBS News Today on Thursday. He said that the aftermath will depend on how quickly the response teams manage to handle the spill. The environmentalists warned that it would take many years for the environment to recover. Norilsk has already been a zone of environmental disaster, and the accident could worsen the situation. Norilsk is a remote, enclosed to foreigners city inside the Arctic Circle. The city and its mines were constructed by the Soviet Union with the use of Gulag prisoners' labor. In modern history, it has been known as one of the world's most polluted cities in the world due to metallurgical complex emissions. Alright guys, that's pretty spooky to hear about this spill in the Arctic. I just wanted to cover it to make sure that everybody who watches my channel is aware of it. That is pretty big disaster up there in Russia. I mean the Arctic Circle, because of Russia. That's just craziness. Alright, next. U.S. employment sees a surprise improvement in May. The U.S. labor market improved unexpectedly in May, raising hopes that economic damage tied to the pandemic will be less harmful than feared. The unemployment rate fell to 13.3, down from 14.7 in April, as businesses started hiring again. Firms in the hospitality, construction, and healthcare sectors took on staff. In total, employers added 2.5 million jobs, with the education and retail sectors also recruiting. It came as most U.S. states started rolling back some of the tough measures but put in place to control the spread of the coronavirus. As businesses started reopening, firms are beginning to rehire their employees. That's pretty sweet that people are starting to rehire again. That's great news. Alright, next. YouTube personality Jake Paul has been charged in Scottsdale riots. Scottsdale, Arizona. YouTube star Jake Paul has been charged as a participant in the Scottsdale riot Saturday night at Scottsdale Fashion Square. Scottsdale police released a statement Thursday explaining the charges. The department received hundreds of tips and videos identifying social media influencer Jake Joseph Paul as a participant in the riot. Our investigation revealed that Paul was present after the protest was declared an unlawful assembly and the rioters were ordered to leave the area by the police. Paul also unlawfully entered and remained inside the mall when it was closed. We received hundreds of tips in response to the events at Scottsdale's. It is a continued investigation. It was confirmed that Jake Paul was in attendance and remained inside after the unlawful assembly was declared and has been charged with criminal trespass and unlawful assembly. Sergeant Ben Hoster said Paul has been charged with criminal trespassing, unlawful assembly. Both misdemeanor charges were, but it was not booked into jail. Paul took to Twitter and released a statement following the riots on Saturday. To be absolutely clear, neither I nor anyone in our group was engaged in any looting or vandalism. For context, we spent the day doing our part to peaceful protests, one of the most horrific injustices our country has ever seen, which led us to being tear gassed for filming the events and brutality that were unfolding in Arizona. We were gassed and forced to keep moving on foot. Paul was not yet released a statement on the charges. Alright. And finally, we get to see a strawberry full moon. Get ready for the full strawberry moon on Friday. Friday's full moon, also known as a strawberry moon, will light up the night sky in most of the Western Hemisphere, including North America. But that's not the case the world over. In much of the Eastern Hemisphere, the full moon on Friday, June 5th, will showcase a penumbral lunar eclipse, meaning that the strawberry moon will appear dark and silvery. For anyone bummed out about missing the penumbral lunar eclipse, just wait 1 month until July 4th. North America will get a chance to see a different penumbral lunar eclipse, a site to Live Science said. The moon's exact moment of fullness happens at 3:12 p.m. on Friday. However, because the moon won't be visible in North America at that point, your best bet is to gaze skyward at moonrise, when the slightly less full moon will begin its ascent at 8:23 p.m. shortly before sunset at 8:31 p.m. according to Travel and Leisure. The strawberry moon is named for its relatively short strawberry growing season in the northeastern North America. It's a name recognized by most Algonquin tribes. The non-defunct Maine Farmer's Almanac reported it in the 1930s, according to NASA. In fact, June is a prime strawberry growing time for most United States, which also pointed out that strawberries are our favorite, ranking 6th in the country's most popular fruit. Alright, so we got the strawberry full moon going on. Hopefully, the full moon energies don't drive people crazy, but because we kind of don't need that right now at this time. So stay safe, guys, and see you next time. God bless.